What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. Live your best life. You must live label free. Super excited. We've got a very special guest joining us all the way from Berlin. So it's a little bit later in the world for her. She is an ethical email strategist, copywriter, helping entrepreneurs with their ethical messaging. Please welcome Yuval Ackerman. Yuval, thank you for joining us today. I'm super excited to have this conversation.
Me too. Thank you so very much for having me.
So you are in Berlin. So it is, it's like 2:00 in the afternoon here. And so it's 9 p.m. there, correct?
It is, yes.
So you're almost getting ready for bed.
Well, considering a few things that I have to do just before that, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, we are going to have a great conversation before you get yourself ready to go to sleep. So you guys sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee or a drink or whatever, and tune in and listen to my conversation with Yuval. So I talked to several copywriters I've had on my show, and no one's ever used the word ethical. And so I like that. So I'm really curious what that means to you when you say ethical email strategist or email or just with the copyright messaging.
So if I'm really trying to boil it down to one key phrase or sentence, it would be market as you would like to be marketed to. Okay. So if I'm talking about emails, which is, for example, what I'm doing for my clients and with my clients, it's all about writing and or sending the messages that people would actually want to read, the things that you want to open, the things that you want to click, the things that you want to buy. Right. And there's a whole, philosophy behind what is ethical and what is right for one business and maybe not the most perfect fit, I would say, for another. But, that's a whole different conversation. Hopefully we'll dive into a little bit of that.
Yeah. What is, I guess my question would be like, what is the importance? Why is it important to hire someone like you for an entrepreneur?
There are several reasons. First and foremost, some people don't like emailing, but actually emails are one of the most profitable streams of marketing out there, with return on investment of about $42 per every dollar that you spend. That's an outstanding ROI. That's for one. Second of all, it's a wonderful way to stay in touch and build real, authentic connections with your audience. Yeah. And third, maybe you're just too busy to do things yourself. And I understand that, we're all trying our best to do the best for our business and the best for our lives. And sometimes you just don't have the time. So you just have to delegate to someone else.
And what is so I do a lot of my emails myself, like my email marketing. I'll shoot out a newsletter. Actually, I'm due to do one this week. So when someone works with you, how do you cultivate that message for them so that they do get that ROI on working with you?
I'm going to say something that I think has become my mantra ever since I started doing this, which is it depends. I cannot give you like a magic formula of how I can generate an outstanding 42-to-1 ROI. I think it has to do with mainly the consistency of your value, not necessarily the consistency of your emails, but the consistency of the value that you're providing to your audience. If you are following this value or playing on this balance between the value that you're providing and the sales that you're trying to get out of it, I would say that's the very first step to reaching that kind of an ROI.
Interesting. So what kind of companies do you work with?
I mostly nowadays work with solopreneurs and small to medium-sized businesses, mostly businesses that want to do things better. We in my field, we talk about best practices, so to speak. But the best practices are not necessarily the best practices for you or for your audience. Therefore, maybe we need to talk about better practices. Yeah. And tweak and test and try and see how things unfold this way. So I'm all for better practices.
Yeah, for sure. And so how'd you get into copywriting?
I've always been a writer. Always. Okay. I think I learned how to read before I was even in primary school. I grew up in Israel, which also means that as soon as you finish high school, you have to enroll to the army. And I actually got a very interesting job as a journalist in the Army's radio station. It's a national radio station with a huge reach, like 50% of the population each and every day. And I was doing that for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, that was quite an experience. And I learned a lot of things through this experience, but I mainly also learned that I don't want to do journalism. And it actually led me to a writing hiatus of 7 years. So I didn't want to do anything with writing after that.
Yeah.
And I worked in all kinds of temporary gigs. I moved countries in between as well. I did a bachelor in sound engineering because I also love music. I love sound. I love everything to do with that. And I got to the point where I really wanted to make a living again out of my brain. Sure. And what I know how to do best, which is actually writing. And I started with content writing. And after I got a few clients, they started asking me to do a bunch of different things that I thought, well, this is not exactly content writing. So what is it? At that point, I also started studying more copywriting and on copywriting. And I thought it was also a really good opportunity to niche down and become a specialist in something specific. And emails seem to be, I still firmly believe that they are the best way to tell a good, honest, vulnerable story.
Yeah. And so when you say emails, it's not like one-on-one emails. It's like a newsletter, like an email blast that you're cultivating
exactly
for your clients. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, that does take some skill, and it's good to figure out what your messaging is because, you could lose a lot of your contact list if you're not putting together a good email that goes out. So how does one, so if somebody's listening, a solopreneur or a small business owner, and they're like, oh, this sounds great. What does that process look like to work with you?
So there are a few ways to work with me. I mainly do VIP weeks because I have low key ADD. So if I focus on too many things at once, nothing gets done. Yeah. So when I do a VIP week, first of all, we hop on a call together. I ask you a bunch of questions. It's very important to me to know that we're on the same page, both on the ethical side of things and also in terms of your mission and what you're doing and all of that. Once we get the ball rolling and we decide to work together and, I send you a contract and all of that, then we start onboarding. I'm going to ask you a bunch of more questions because I need to get the real, nitty gritty details of your business and what is it that you're trying to achieve. Yeah. And after that, we're gathering all the information that I need. And once I start the VIP week, I just review all the information and I start planning. So that's the strategy part of the things. And the day after, I'm just, sleeping on it and I just start writing like a madwoman. And then within a week, you're going to get your email sequence and just put it into your email service provider. And there's a bunch of follow-ups and those kinds of things. But yeah, that's in a nutshell, the main thing that I'm doing.
And so you really kind of, when you talk to one of your clients, you really kind of get an idea of who their avatar is, because you have to know how to format your message to understand who you're speaking to, right?
It's more than just the avatar. I actually request not all of, but I would say really most of my clients to either talk to their subscribers and get some interviews with them, or really get the statistics behind their email lists. And really, I'm trying to get to know the people behind the numbers, because if we're talking about ethical emails, it's not about numbers for me. Each and every one of your subscribers is a person. Right. They need help with something. Yeah. So how can we help both sides achieve what they want with a piece of content, which happens to be an email? How can we help both sides with this?
Hello, my faithful friends. This episode is brought to you by Brian Tracy. That's right. New York Times bestselling author, internationally renowned success expert, thought leader, and one of the best professional speakers today. We are offering you a 6-figure speaker free ebook. This course is designed for those who want to learn, develop, or improve the skill set required to speak confidently and effectively in front of an audience. So if you are one of these people, don't hesitate on this free offer and go click the link in bio. And so you said you put together a sequence. So how many, like when somebody signs a contract with you, how long is that period of time, and what are you providing them within that contract?
So because of the VIP week, I'm only working on project-based projects.
Okay.
So a sequence can be 4 emails, can be 15, 20 emails. It really depends on what you need, what you're launching, whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. And then I'm just delivering this, the sequence, and it includes basically a copy deck, strategy, wireframing, kickoff call, closing call, follow-ups, optimization stage as well. So I'm tweaking the copy and the strategy first and foremost before it's going to be sent to your subscribers. And second of all, after 30 days, if you have initial results, I'm going to log into your ESP, your email service provider, yet again. And I'm going to see if we got any results. Can we tweak anything? If it's an evergreen sequence, can we actually improve the statistics, the results? So it's not just send and go and forget about it.
Right.
It's not like that at all.
You're very detailed. It's nothing like the other people that I've spoken to that were copywriters. I love it. And so what does something like that cost?
So my starting rates start at 2,500 euros. And it really depends on the scope of the project and honestly, also the potential of the success of the project.
Wow. Okay. So I don't know what that is in dollars, but that sounds a lot like a lot. Well, that is very cool. And so, you do a sequence of emails. What else do you do? So you do copyright and you do the email strategist. Do you still do content, right? Content for social media. Do you do that as well?
Don't let anyone know, but that's maybe on my secret menu. That's not something that's not something that I'm promoting.
Okay.
I'm really all about emails.
Yeah.
I have done social media. I'm doing my own social media. I've been consistent with that for a very long time. So, I can also do that, but actually I highly recommend anyone listening really if you want to hire me for emails.
Yeah.
Because we want to work on things that we both enjoy seeing the process and the results out of.
Yeah.
Social media, honestly, is not something that I like. And I always tell my clients, get out of social media. It's not yours. The platform is not yours. The algorithms are not playing in your favor. Your email list is something that you can control. You have the platform, you have the subscribers, you have the consent of your subscribers. Use that, so that's why I'm all about emails.
I love it. Yeah. Well, they could, if you're writing the emails for them, they could probably take some of the content out of the emails and post it on their social media. If they are doing like a whole sequence or campaign, mind you, that would make sense. I'm on social media and I manage pages for a couple other companies, and that's something that I do on the side. And sometimes writing those captions are tricky. You got to get creative. You got to know the hashtags, like you said, and sometimes like you get a win, other times you don't, or you're generating a lot of engagement. So yeah, I don't blame you. It can get a little tedious. So where can people find you, connect with you, and reach out to you?
So first and foremost, I would invite anyone and everyone listening to us to join my email list, where you can see me practice what I preach on a weekly basis as well. And you can join at ackermancopywriting.com/subscribe. Okay. You can also reach me on social media, even though I'm not a fan, I'm still there. I'm on LinkedIn with my name, Yuval Ackerman, and on Instagram at Ackerman Copywriting.
Excellent. And I'll put all those links in the show notes, you guys. So don't hesitate to reach out to Yuval if this is something that you think you're going to need for your business, which I think everybody probably needs a copywriter for the business. So don't hesitate to click that link, subscribe to her email, and also reach out to her on social media. So what's the next step for you? Like, do you have other things that you're working on? I know that I talked to a copywriter that wrote a book and she did very well with her book. So I'm just curious, is that something that you have plans for in the future?
I mean, maybe one day. I'm a writer. I love writing.
Yeah.
I have been thinking of writing a book, but I have honestly no idea what I'm going to do with this or what I'm going to write on. But honestly, the next thing that I'm onto, and I'm onto it right now, is a podcast as well. That has nothing to do with copywriting, but has to do with following your intuition and your guts, which is something that I do with my business as well, as we spoke about. And it's all about relationships and communication and following your instincts, even though the name of the podcast is Loving Against My Instincts. It's a whole story. But yeah, it's something that I'm really having fun with.
Podcasting is fun. So are you on Apple?
I'm everywhere.
Well, I'll make sure I put the link in the show notes as well. So go check out her podcast, you guys. Since you're listening to mine, you're a lover of podcasts, you're going to have to go check hers out. Loving against
my instincts.
My instincts. Okay. I'm going to have to pull that out of Apple and put that in there. Well, it's almost time for this is almost the part of the show where I like to ask for any last words of wisdom or advice. What would you like to leave with the audience?
I would definitely love you to question everything that you might have been told or everything that you might have heard about email marketing, because there is no one way to do anything, and what's right for your business is right for your business.
Right.
It's all about trying, tweaking, sometimes failing, trying again, and that's fine. That's a part of the game. But please don't let anyone convince you that there is only one way to be successful, especially not with your email marketing.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, sometimes, you gotta try something to see if it works. And, once you find something that works and stick to it, it might take a couple times to get there, but if, try and try again. That's all I have to say. But thank you for the words of wisdom, Yuval. It was a pleasure talking with you. We're going to let you go so you can go settled in for bed, watching TV, as Athena's over here. She's just having a blast being a part of the conversation. Well, thank you so much for being a guest, Yuval, and keep us posted. If you come out with that book, we'll bring it back so we can update the audience.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. Live your best life. You must live label free. Please don't forget to follow, subscribe, rate, review, comment, all those good things. And I'll be back soon with more dynamic guests.